Hi everybody, and thanks for watching this video and for subscribing to my blog. My name is Dr. Simpson, and I'm going to talk this week about instincts. Now, I've always been fascinated by animal behavior, especially the miracles of nature that we can't come anywhere close to understanding or explaining, such as how can birds fly thousands of miles every year in their migratory cycle and arrive at exactly the place where they were last year? How can salmon swim thousands of miles across the sea, sometimes years after their birth, to the place where indeed they were first spawned? And how can the humble spider construct its intricate web? Because nobody taught these animals any of these things. They are called innate instincts, and that means that they were born with these skills. So they must be hardwired into their brains somehow, and yet their brains are very small, especially compared to ours. I mean, another example I could have given was bees and those dances that they do when they communicate the location of food sources to the other bees in the hive. So these are absolutely incredible and all done by instinct. So what about us with our massive brain power? How important are instincts to us? Well, according to the scientists, if they are to be believed, then they're not very important at all. And the reason is, they say, is because we do have such a powerful brain that we don't need to have this hardwired information. Because as we grow and learn from others, we can develop solutions to all kinds of problems that present to us. Now, this all sounds very well and good, but sometimes the more we think about things, the more confused we become. There are too many choices that our brains can generate. And of course, the generation of these thoughts takes time, and time sometimes is of the essence. Now, when people talk about these things, they talk about instinct, in the same breath they often use the word intuition and even clairvoyance. And I certainly have been banging on about intuition for a long time now, because I think it's probably one of the most important human qualities that we can have in our life. And I'm not alone in this, because there was a famous French surgeon called Alexis Carrel, who won the Nobel Prize for Medicine in 1912, who spoke about intuition. And I'm going to read what he said, because I thought it was very powerful. He said, "Intuition comes very close to clairvoyance. It appears to be the extrasensory perception of reality." Now, it's not just scientists who can have these views, because the poet and author Robert Graves also wrote on this subject. He said, "Intuition is the supralogic that cuts out all the routine processes of thought and leaps straight from the problem to the solution." Well, this makes a lot of sense to me, because as I mentioned earlier, there are times in life when we can't think about a problem for a day or two or even longer. We need to decide immediately. And rational thought ain't going to do that. It just isn't quick enough. So I think that we do have instincts hardwired into us. And it is a coincidence, because when I started this latest series of blogs, I didn't quite know where the journey was going to go. I started with Freud and his views on the id, which of course is where instincts might live. I talked about Jung and the collective unconscious, and certainly somewhere in the unconscious mind, if we do have instincts, that's where we'll find them. And then I spoke about Maslow's work and his hierarchy of human needs, or the drives that we have. He, by the way, didn't believe in instincts. That's why he called them drives. He said that they're controllable. Well, they might be in some people, but there are many people who aren't able to control some of these drives. So it makes me wonder whether perhaps there are deeper reasons for this. Well, this is all very interesting to think and talk about and argue about, But, well, how does it help? What is the practical significance of this? Well, to me, it seems as if we have less freedom of thought than we might believe. And if so, that might explain why human beings in general can behave in such crazy ways. I mean, we only need to look at the situation in various parts of the world at the moment, what's going on, and it's terrible. And it hasn't changed over the centuries. And if we've got such powerful brains, then why aren't we learning and using them? We have to look, I think, for other reasons. So understanding yourself, I suppose, understanding this possibility that our thoughts may not be as free as we think, could just possibly help. And it certainly could help people who are therapists, who are in the talking therapies that I've mentioned before. Because the talking therapies are not terribly successful, many of them, despite the skill and experience of the therapists themselves. And if we are aiming these therapies at the rational, analytical mind, this might be the reason. Because some of these, if more of our thoughts are on an instinctive level and coming from what I mentioned last week as the reptilian brain, then we need to adapt those therapies because that's where our target of effort should be. So it's somewhat depressing, I have to say, and nihilistic. And as an optimistic person, I am searching for a more heartening message. And I believe that there has to be one out there. I mean, all of these evolutionary years that our species has gone through developing our brain, there must be some very positive spin-offs from this. And I've got a clue what it might be. I'm not certain yet. I need to do some more research. But in my next blog, and I'm not teasing you, I just honestly don't know at the moment, but in my next blog, I hope to have some ideas that are far more positive and also will be far more helpful to us as individuals and as part of our global community. So there you are. There's a big promise. I hope I can live up to at least a small part of it. So thank you again for watching this video. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, please do check out my blog post because I've explained things in more detail in the written form, and I will put my my web address at the end of the video for you. So plenty to keep us thinking over the next week, and I hope that you do find freedom of thought and you use it productively and have a wonderful time. So until next week, goodbye for now.